I started crocheting amigurumis in 2015, so there's been almost 9 years that I do it. There are a couple of things that I learned along the way in my journey that really surprised me. So today I'll talk about 5 things that I wish I knew before I started crocheting. So number 1, developing calluses. And first up, let's talk about different tools like our crochet hooks. Did you know that over time, depending on the way that you hold your crochet hook, you can develop some calluses in your fingers? That's right. And it's pretty normal. But it really surprised me. I didn't know it was going to happen with me because of crochet. And in my case, I am right-handed, so I hold the yarn, I wrap the yarn in my left hand, which is my non-dominant hand. And because of the way that I hold the yarn here and I grab the crochet hook, I do the pencil hold, not the knife grip. So the way that I hold the crochet hook, I realized after a couple of years that if I crochet too much, I open a cut in this finger here because I usually pass the crochet hook in this finger like this all the time. And although it's not sharp, this is not something sharp, it does not cut you if you pass it in your hand like this, but if you crochet for hours with this like this in your finger, passing the tip of the crochet hook like this, it can open a cut in your finger. And it happened to me. So from time to time, if I crochet too much, I have to, put a tape on my finger so I avoid opening the cut too much and also bleeding. Yeah, it happens. The second thing that I learned, and this is something that I want to share with the whole world, is that not all chenille yarns are the same. And I always tell it when people come to me saying, I hate plushy amigurumis, I don't like crocheting with chenille yarns, I hate polyester fiber. I usually tell these people, you have never tried all the possibilities of polyester and chenille yarns that there are in the market. But let me tell you something, and of course I have never tried all the polyester fiber that exists, but I tested quite a lot. But there is a big difference between them. Some of them are fluffier, some of them have a more velour touch. Others are easier to see the stitches. Some are more resistant, while others break really easily when you're crocheting or trying to do a magic ring, which I know can be super hard depending on the yarn. So when it comes to polyester fiber and plushy amigurumis, keep in mind that not all the yarns are the same. Really, guys. Some people shared with me how traumatized they are with those type of yarns. But there's a whole playlist here in the channel where I share my favorite yarns and I tell all the difference between the chunky chenille plushy yarns that I have ever tested. So I will leave the link in the description. You can check this playlist later. And in case you want to know about other types of yarns, please let me know here because maybe I have already tested them and I can share my experiences with you, but maybe I have never tested them too. So who knows, maybe a brand wants to sponsor me to create those videos. It would be really nice. And I have an example here to share with you. I crocheted this amigurumi here, which is also a free tutorial here in the channel. I can leave again the link in the description so you can check later. But this beautiful octopus here, it's a no sewing pattern. It's very fast to be done as well. But in the tutorial, I teach with this yarn here is a yarn, very cheap one that I bought in AliExpress, and it's very, very good. 100% polyester. You can see the stitches very easily. This does not break that easily too, so it's very, very good. While this one is another brand. Actually, this one is good. It does not break that easily too, but it's not that easy to see the stitches. So if you're a beginner, this yarn here can be way more difficult than this one. So again, there are differences between polyester fibers. There are a couple that I would never recommend. I have ones that I definitely don't like, but there are others that are easier. So keep in mind that not all polyester fibers are the same. The third thing that I learned in my crochet amigurumi journey is regarding tension. Even after years of crocheting and you become a pro, yarn tension is something that can vary a lot from week to week, month, or even days. And it's something very, very important because it can affect the whole look of your amigurumi. If you start a project one day and you continue the other, but in the next day you are tired, you didn't have a good night of sleep, probably your crochet tension will be different. Of course, after years of practice, these differences can be very, very subtle, but there is a difference. I'm not saying that if you start a project one day, you have to finish in the same day, so you have like an even crochet tension all over the project. It's not that. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that this crochet tension can change. It's normal. Don't worry too much about it because this is completely normal. And let's be honest, this is a handmade product. These kind of things are expected. The fourth thing that I learned in my amigurumi journey is regarding crocheting clothes for amigurumi. And I decided to talk about it here because this is a bit more challenging than it looks like, and I rarely see people talking about it. And the first time I saw another person talking about this thing was in this book here. It's Pica-Pow 3 from Ian. This is an amigurumi book, a very good one, by the way. I even reviewed this book in another video here in the channel, just so you know if you're interested in it. But there is one thing here in the beginning of the book, and I was fascinated to see that it was written in the book because it was something that I always shared with everyone who talked to me, like asking me for tips about clothes and everything. And I always gave that tip. And I was really happy to see that the tip that I was giving was also in the book, and I didn't even know. It was a coincidence. But there is something here written in the book, and it's tension for clothes and accessories. It can change, okay? When we are crocheting amigurumis like my beautiful cappuccino cup here, we want our stitches very tight, and of course, because we don't want to see gaps between stitches, and we want it to be very firm and steady. I mean, I want this cappuccino cup to be able to stand on its own like this and be very, very firm. But when it comes to clothes, we don't need it to be that firm. Of course, it depends on the amigurumi that you're crocheting and the effect that you want to cause in the amigurumi. But usually clothes, we want them to be a little more, I don't know, soft. I don't know if soft would be the best word, but we want them to have movement. If you crochet a skirt, you want the skirt to have movement. If you want a dress, you want movement. So the tension when we are crocheting these kind of things are a bit different. So the tip that I always give, which is also in the book, is whenever you're crocheting clothes for your amigurumi, measure it all the time in the doll. So if you're crocheting a dress for a doll, for example, I strongly advise you to have the doll first, and then you start crocheting the dress and measure it all the time, so you make sure that the dress fits in the doll, because that way you can make a few adjustments. You don't need to change the pattern. Sometimes you just need to change the crochet hook size that you're using or loosen up your stitches a little bit. Actually, if you want me to create a whole video dedicated to tips, like tips for clothes and accessories, just write the word clothes here in the comments so I know that this is a topic that interests you. Next thing I wish someone had told me when I started crocheting is the feeling that we have after we finish a project. It's priceless, and it's very hard to put that into words. Finishing an amigurumi is something that you can only know how it really feels if you do it yourself. It's amazing, and I know that if you're watching this video, you know what this feeling is. And we can experience lots of different emotions when we are crocheting an amigurumi. Of course, there is anger in the process, especially if it does not come out the way you wanted and you get stuck in a part that you don't understand that well. It's completely normal. There is frustration in the way. But when you finish it, it's amazing. The feeling that, oh, I'm capable of doing that. This feeling of accomplishment that we have, and especially if you're gifting that to someone. I remember as if it was yesterday, the first amigurumi that I crocheted and I gifted someone. People were so happy. They were so amazed. They were like, I cannot believe that you did that. It's possible to do something like that. It's great. It's a unique feeling that if you have never crocheted an amigurumi, and I don't know, this is the first video that you're watching, I strongly advise you to start doing it. You will not regret. Well, and I said in the beginning that I had 5 things to share with you. There were 5 curiosities that I wish someone had told me when I started learning how to crochet, but I have an extra one, and it's about the crochet community. This was a big surprise, and that's why I decided to include this in the video. Because this is something that I also learned in the process, that crochet is not only about yarn, hooks, and making cute amigurumi toys. And I have one here. I'm talking to you and I'm playing with my cappuccino mug. But it's also about the people that you meet in the community. I mean, the friends that you meet online and somehow become part of your life in a way that I never expected. I was one of those people, very skeptic about it. I thought like, it's not possible to make friends online and things like that. I didn't believe that. But it's not true. I met so many great people because of crochet, and I'm so grateful for that. There are a couple of people that every time I send the newsletter, and if you're not subscribed to my newsletter, the link is in the description. I would love to have you in my community as well. But there are a couple of people that respond to my newsletter whenever I send them emails. And these people know because I always answer everyone. And I love that people are surprised that it's me, guys. I really do. I do answer everyone. If you message me here on YouTube, if you send me a message on Instagram, if you send me a message, I don't know, via email, I do. I really do answer everyone because I like this bond that we create. I like talking to people. I learn so much from you, and I love that you learn from me as well. So whenever someone sends me a question and I'm like, oh, this is nice, this is interesting, maybe I can do a video about it. It's not only like, oh, I'll create more content on that to, I don't know, earn more money. No, it's not that. Because one question from a person, I realize that is a question that many others have. And in the end, I have like 10 people sending me messages like, thank you so much for teaching me that. No one ever explained to me that point, that thing. It's amazing. I'm a teacher. If you don't know, I'm a teacher. And I say that the teacher inside me screams of excitement when these kind of things happen. And there are so many things that I can say about the crochet community. I think you can see that I'm getting really excited with that because you give me support, inspiration. When I shared about my tendinitis issue, I received so many beautiful messages. Some of them I got really emotional reading. So you're amazing, and being part of a community like this is amazing. And I know that the online world can be a bit tricky and complicated sometimes. It's not a bed of roses all the time. There's always these haters and people that give you a thumbs down in the video for no reason. Probably someone will do that with this video here, and I don't know why, because it took me a long time to record, to edit. But that's okay, it's part of the job. I'm learning how to accept it. It sucks. It sucks because we put all our heart into it, into creating it. And there's always this haters, this person that will give you a thumbs down for no reason. Like they don't like black, the color of my t-shirt. They don't like my hair or whatever. These people simply give you a thumbs down for no reason. Yeah, I know there is always this person, but thank God the majority of people that I meet here are great. So I will eternally focus on the good people that I meet in the crochet community. And thanks for being that person. And that's it. This is my short list of things that I wish I had known before I started learning how to crochet amigurumis, and a couple of stories also that I shared with you. You know, sometimes I get excited and I talk too much. I'm sorry for that. But now I want to hear from you. Do you have any tips or stories about your journey from when you started learning how to crochet amigurumis or crochet in general? Because I would love to hear them. And now I'll leave you this video here because I am pretty sure you're going to like it. And I'll see you in the next video.